I've spent 24 years living as a sacrificial tool for my family and a spare lover for my fiancé. My parents regard me as a cash machine for my incompetent younger brother, and my relatives treat my dedication as an unshirkable obligation. My fiancé, Yu, keeps me by his side just because I am docile, obedient, and perfectly suitable for a stable marriage, while his heart always belongs to his lively and bright childhood sweetheart. I was born gentle, used to swallowing grievances, used to compromising for my family, used to hiding all my sharpness and silently paying for everyone around me. I thought this was the fate of an ordinary person, that I was destined to live for others all my life, with no self, no preferences, no freedom. Until the day the invisible barges appeared in my field of vision. These transparent, floating lines of text only I can see, densely covering every corner of my life, exposing all the hypocrisy and selfishness of the people around me. Awakening alert. The host has been imprisoned in the sacrificial script for 24 years. All dedication is meaningless. Parents are using the host's salary and savings to buy a house for the younger brother, planning to drive the host out of the house after marriage. Fiancé Yu is preparing to break off the engagement, waiting for his childhood sweetheart to return to China to get engaged. All relatives are watching the host's jokes, waiting to harvest the host's benefits. Warning! Continuous sacrifice will lead to the host's complete emotional collapse and life tragedy. Please break the script, counterattack immediately, and make everyone pay the price. The moment I saw the endless barges, the dusty and cowardly Su Nian died completely. From today on, I will no longer sacrifice myself for anyone. I will tear off everyone's hypocritical disguise, crush the sacrificial script arranged for me, and let all those who have hurt me fall into eternal crematoriums. Hashtag Chapter 1 Barrage Awakening, piercing all hypocrisy. The dinner table of the Su family was extremely lively tonight. My parents sat in the main seats, smiling and chatting with my uncles and aunts. My younger brother Su lay lazily on the sofa, playing games with his mobile phone, asking me to peel fruits and pour drinks for him from time to time. I was busy in the kitchen, washing dishes and arranging meals, sweating slightly, but no one took the initiative to help me. No one cared about my tiredness. This is the normal state of my life, for 24 years. Since I was a child, my parents have instilled in me the idea that elder sisters must sacrifice for younger brothers. All good things must be given to Su first. All hardships and sacrifices are what I should bear. I got into a key university with excellent grades, but my parents forced me to give up postgraduate recommendation, let me work early to earn money to support my brother's study and life. I worked hard in a top financial company with a high salary and bright future, but more than 80% of my salary was taken away by my parents every month, all used to satisfy my brother's extravagant life. I have been engaged to Yu for 2 years. He is a cold and restrained elite lawyer. He never quarrels with me, never loses his temper, but he never gives me sincere tenderness either. I always thought that steady plainness is the ultimate happiness of marriage, and I was willing to wait for him to slowly fall in love with me. Until tonight, the barges suddenly appeared in my eyes without warning. Dense, transparent text floated in the air, clear and eye-catching, completely breaking my long-standing delusions. Dog parents are discussing buying a 300-square-meter luxury apartment for Su with the host's 6-year savings. They plan to write the house property certificate solely in Su name and drive the host out after the engagement is broken. Aunt is secretly mocking the host for being stupid and easy to manipulate, saying she is a natural sacrificial tool. Uncle is coveting the host's high-salary job, planning to let his own daughter replace the host's position. Fiancé Yu sent a message to his childhood sweetheart 10 minutes ago. Wait for you to come back, I will terminate the engagement and marry you. The host has no family affection, no love, no self-worth in this family. All dedication is being treated as a fool's bargain. Awakening success. From now on, the host can see all the true thoughts and hidden plots of everyone around you. My hands holding the dinner plate froze suddenly, and the warm temperature in my heart completely faded, replaced by bone-chilling coldness. I raised my head and looked at the smiling parents at the dinner table. My mother was holding a bowl of soup, her face full of kindness. Yan, hurry up and sit down to eat. Your brother is going to get married in 2 years, and the family is going to buy him a new house. You have worked hard these years, and we know it. As soon as her voice fell, new barges popped up rapidly. Pretentious. She only says nice things to stabilize the host, for fear that the host will stop paying money. She has long calculated that the host's savings are enough for the down payment and decoration of the luxury house. My father nodded in agreement, with a solemn and earnest tone. As an elder sister, it's only right to help your younger brother. Your brother is the root of our Su family. All your efforts are for the prosperity of the family. After your brother gets married, you will also have face as an elder sister. Barrage swiped the screen again. Hypocritical family ethics. They only regard the host as a tool to sacrifice, never treat the host as a daughter. They have long decided not to prepare a dowry for the host, and even want to collect a high betrothal gift from the host's marriage for Su car. Su leaned on the sofa and shouted impatiently, "Sister, why are you in a daze? Bring me a bottle of ice drink." The house must be bigger and more luxurious, and it must be located in the city center. Don't be stingy with your money. Spoiled waste. He has relied on the host's sacrifice for more than 20 years and takes everything for granted. He privately mocks the host as an old maid who can't get married, and laughs at the host for being stupid enough to be exploited by the family. Every barrage is like a sharp blade, cutting through all the false warmth in front of me, exposing the ugliest human nature nakedly. For 24 years, I have been conscientious, filial to my parents, tolerant to my brother, humble and dedicated to my family and lover. I have wronged myself repeatedly, sacrificed my dreams, savings, and youth, just to maintain the so-called family harmony and stable love. But in the eyes of all these people, I am just a dispensable sacrificial tool, a fool who can be exploited at will. The last trace of warmth and obsession in my heart was completely burned out. I put down the dinner plate slowly, raised my eyes, and the gentleness in my eyes completely disappeared, replaced by cold indifference and thorough sobriety. No more compromise, no more sacrifice, no more self-abuse and internal friction. Since everyone wants me to be a sacrificial victim, then I will drag all these hypocrites into the abyss together. Hashtag Chapter 2 First Face Slapping, cutting off family exploitation. My mother saw me standing still, her face sank slightly, and she blamed me in a low voice. Nyan, what's wrong with you? Your brother is talking to you. Why are you ignoring him? You are getting more and more rude. The relatives on the side also began to echo and preach. Aunt covered her mouth and smiled. Kids these days are just too self-centered. Your sister Nyan has a good job and earns a lot of money, so she starts to be arrogant. But no matter how capable she is still the elder sister of Hao Hao, and she should help her younger brother. Uncle nodded solemnly. Family is one, the elder sacrifices for the younger, which is the natural truth. Nyan, you can't be too selfish. Your parents have worked hard to raise you, so you have to repay the family. Barrages floated frantically in my sight. Double standard relatives. They never let their own children sacrifice, only squeeze the host. They are waiting to see the host compromise, and then follow the trend to ask the host for benefits. All hypocritical moral kidnapping. Break it directly, slap their faces hard. I looked at the group of people who were talking morally and kidnapping me, and suddenly laughed softly. The smile was cold and ironic. Sacrifice? Repay the family? I repeated these two sentences slowly, my clear eyes sweeping over every face present one by one. I have given 80% of my salary to my family for 6 consecutive years, with a total of more than 1 million. I gave up my postgraduate qualification, gave up my dream of studying abroad, and used all my spare time to help my brother with his studies and handle family affairs. What have I got in return? I stared straight at my pale-faced parents, my voice calm and powerful, without any trembling or grievance, only thorough coldness. You take my hard-earned savings to buy a luxury house for my brother and plan to drive me out of the house. You preach family affection on the surface, but treat me as a cash machine behind my back. Uncle and aunt talk about morality, but they secretly laugh at me for being stupid, covet my job, and want their children to replace me to enjoy the benefits. My brother relies on my sacrifice to live a comfortable life, but he mocks me for being old and stupid behind my back. Every word I said hit the truth accurately, making the expressions of everyone present change drastically in an instant. My mother's face turned pale in an instant, and she hurriedly tried to cover up. Nyan, what nonsense are you talking about? Where did you hear these messy words? We are your family. How could we treat you like this? No nonsense. I interrupted her directly, my eyes sharp and undeniable. From today on, I will no longer hand over any salary to my family. All my savings, work income, and personal property belong only to me. I will not pay for my brother's house, car, or marriage. I will no longer make any sacrifices for this family. As soon as the words fell, the whole room fell into dead silence. Su Hao jumped up from the sofa angrily, staring at me fiercely. Su Nyan, are you crazy? The money you earn should be used for my marriage and house. If you don't give me money, what will I marry a wife with? I glanced at him lightly, with a sarcastic smile on my lips. Your marriage and house are your own responsibilities, not mine. I have no obligation to pay for your lazy life. You! Su Hao was so angry that he blushed and wanted to rush over to push me. I stepped back steadily, avoiding his attack easily, and my eyes turned colder. If you dare to do it, I will call the police directly. I don't mind letting the neighbors and your future marriage partners know what a spoiled, lazy, and greedy waste you are. Su Hao was stunned by my aura and didn't dare to move forward again. My father slapped the table angrily, his face full of anger. Su Nyan, how dare you talk to your brother like that? You are unfilial and selfish. Do you want to break off relations with the family? Break off relations? I can do it. I answered without hesitation, with no nostalgia in my eyes. Since this family only knows to squeeze and sacrifice me, and never treats me as a family member, then there is no need to maintain this false family affection. From today on, I will move out of this house immediately. I will only fulfill the legal support obligation for my parents in the future, and I will never give an extra cent or an extra bit of dedication. The barrages in my sight swiped the screen frantically with celebratory words. So cool. Finally break the sacrificial script. Directly cut off family exploitation. No more emotional kidnapping. The scumbag family is dumbfounded. They never thought the cowardly host would counterattack. This is the real refusal of internal friction. Female growth starts now. The faces of parents and relatives were extremely ugly. They were used to my obedience and sacrifice, and never thought that I would suddenly change my temperament, be tough and decisive, and completely break their exploitation. They tried to continue moral kidnapping, but I turned a deaf ear. I walked straight to my room, packed all my luggage quickly, and left this cold and hypocritical home without looking back under the desperate and angry stares of the whole family. Standing on the night street with the night breeze blowing, I felt unprecedented relaxation and freedom in my heart. The 24 years of shackles were completely broken at this moment. No more family sacrificial shackles, no more wronged compromise. From now on, I live only for myself. Hashtag Chapter 3 exposing fiancé's scum nature, breaking off the engagement decisively. After leaving the Sue family's home, I booked a high-end apartment near the company overnight, completely staying away from that oppressive environment. Just after I settled down, my mobile phone rang, and the caller was my fiancé, Shinting-yu. Before I answered the phone, the Barrages popped up in advance to remind me. Shinting-yu is coming to pretend to be gentle and persuade the host to reconcile with the family, just to let the host continue to be exploited and save face for him. He just received a message from his childhood sweetheart, who will return to China next week. He is waiting for the right time to break off the engagement. He has always disliked the host's docility and dullness, thinking the host is boring and not worthy of him. All his steadiness and gentleness are superficial pretense. He has never had a trace of true love for the host. I stared at the caller ID, and the last trace of trivial nostalgia in my heart completely disappeared. I answered the phone, my tone flat and indifferent, without the usual gentleness and consideration. Hello. Shinting-yu's low and magnetic voice came from the receiver, with a deliberate, gentle tone. Nyan, I heard you had a quarrel with your family and moved out? Why are you so impulsive? Family quarrels don't need to be so serious. Go back and reconcile quickly. Your parents are old, your brother's young. It's normal for you to tolerate more as an elder sister. Don't be too selfish and willful. Moral kidnapping exactly the same as my family. I sneered in my heart, and the Barrage was still swiping the screen. Double standard scumbag. He thinks the host's sacrifice is justified, just to let the host maintain the perfect virtuous fiancé image. He is afraid that the host's breaking off the family relationship will affect his reputation as a lawyer. I didn't follow his words, and directly threw out the truth. Shinting-yu, you don't need to preach to me. You are waiting for your childhood sweetheart to return to China, ready to break off the engagement with me, right? There was a sudden silence on the other end of the phone. Shinting-yu's gentle tone froze instantly, with obvious astonishment and vigilance. Where did you hear the nonsense? Nyan, don't listen to others' rumors. I have no such idea. No idea? I raised my voice slightly, every word clear and powerful. 10 minutes ago, you sent a message to Lin Wan. Wait for you to come back next week. I will terminate the engagement with Sun Yan immediately and marry you as promised. The moment the words fell, Shinting-yu's breathing on the other end became obviously chaotic. He never told anyone about his private chat with Lin Wan, and he was extremely shocked how I knew it. Sun Yan-yu. No need to explain. I interrupted him coldly. 2 years of engagement, I have been gentle and obedient, took care of your life, accommodated all your preferences, and maintained your reputation outside. But you have always had a white moonlight in your heart, treated me as a spare tire and a marriage tool, and waited for your true love to return to abandon me. This engagement is meaningless. I take the initiative to break off the engagement with you. From today on, we have no marital relationship, no emotional entanglement. Shinting-yu completely panicked. He originally planned to break off the engagement after Lin Wan returned to China so that he could save his reputation and make me the one who was abandoned. But he never expected that I would see through all his plots and take the lead in breaking off the engagement, leaving him completely passive. His tone became anxious and flustered, and he began to pretend to explain and retain. Nyan, it's my fault. I was confused for a moment. I have feelings for you. Don't break off the engagement with me, okay? False retention. He only doesn't want to lose the obedient and sensible spare tire. He is afraid of losing face, not afraid of losing the host. Don't be fooled. This scumbag has no true love at all. I ignored his hypocritical retention and said decisively, it's useless to say anything. The engagement is broken. I will send the engagement ring and all your gifts back to you tomorrow. After speaking, I directly hung up the phone and blacklisted his number and all social accounts. The moment I cut off all contact, my heart was completely relaxed. I cut off the exploitative family and the perfunctory love in one day, completely breaking away from all the wrong relationships in my life. And at this moment, Shinting-yu, who was hung up on the phone, finally felt a trace of unprecedented panic in his heart. He was used to my unconditional gentleness and accommodation, used to me revolving around him, and never thought that I would take the initiative to leave him without any nostalgia. A faint sense of loss and unease quietly sprouted in his heart, but he still stubbornly thought that I was just throwing a temper and would take the initiative to reconcile with him soon. He didn't know that this was the beginning of his lifelong regret and endless crematorium. Hashtag Chapter 4 Family's retaliation and counterattack, thoroughly suppressing the scum. The next day, the Sue family completely exploded because of my resolute severance of relations. My parents were extremely angry. They lost my long-term financial support and could not buy a luxury house for my brother as scheduled. They hated me to the bone. Early in the morning, they took Su Hao and a group of relatives to my company to make trouble, intending to ruin my reputation, force me to compromise, and continue to pay for the family. They stood at the gate of the company, crying and making noise, slandering me for being unfilial, heartless, abandoning my parents and brother for money, and being a cold-blooded and selfish, white-eyed wolf. Many colleagues and leaders stopped to watch, and the onlookers were talking and pointing, and the public opinion was extremely unfavorable to me for a while. Alert! The scumbag family is deliberately discrediting the host's reputation. They want to force the host to yield through public pressure. All onlookers are being misled. The host needs to release evidence to slap their faces immediately. I received the news and walked out of the office calmly, facing the noisy family, without the slightest panic. My mother saw me coming, crying and rushing over to pull me. Sun Yen, you heartless girl! Hurry up and give money to buy a house for your brother. Don't be unfilial. Su Hao also shouted arrogantly, if you don't give money, we will make you unable to stay in the company. Let everyone know how unfilial you are. Relatives also echoed one after another, preaching morality and accusing me loudly. Facing the farce, I took out my mobile phone calmly and projected all the evidence I had sorted out in advance on the company's public screen. 6 years of salary transfer records, every large sum of money transferred to my parents' account clearly visible. Chat records of my parents repeatedly asking for money, threatening to break off relations if I don't pay. Records of Su Hao's repeated squandering my money, lazy idleness, and asking for money wantonly. Audio recordings of the whole family discussing using my savings to buy a house for my brother and driving me out of the house. All the evidence was clear and irrefutable, completely exposing the true face of the Su family's moral kidnapping and exploitative bloodsucking. The noisy crowd at the scene suddenly fell silent, and all the onlookers looked at the Su family with disdain and disgust. I stood tall and straight, my voice clear and powerful, spreading to every corner of the crowd. For 6 years, I have handed over more than 1 million yuan of my salary to my family. I have no dowry, no savings, and have sacrificed all my youth and dreams. My parents have never treated me as a daughter, only as a cash machine. My brother has never regarded me as an elder sister, only as a tool for him to squander. I fulfill my legal support obligation, but I will never bear their greedy and extravagant life. Today, they take the initiative to make trouble and discredit me in public. I will reserve the right to pursue legal responsibility. As soon as my words fell, the barrages swiped the screen crazily. Super cool face slapping. Evidence is solid, completely crushing the scumbag family. Public opinion reversed in an instant. The scumbag family is completely ashamed. The host is sober and powerful. No more being wronged. The faces of my parents and relatives turned pale and bloodless in an instant, and they were so embarrassed that they wanted to escape on the spot. The company leaders saw all the evidence clearly, not only did not blame me, but also severely criticized the Su family for making trouble and disturbing the company's order, and directly called the security guard to drive them away. From then on, the reputation of the Su family was completely ruined in the neighborhood and social circle. Everyone knew that this family was greedy and ungrateful, and squeezed their daughter to spoil their son. No one was willing to associate with them, and no one was willing to introduce a partner to Su Hao. Their life fell into a passive and difficult situation completely. This is their deserved retribution for long-term exploitation and moral kidnapping. Hashtag Chapter 5 The Fiancé's Regret begins. The initial crematorium ignites. After I completely broke off relations with my family and broke off the engagement, I devoted all my energy to my work. Without family trivialities and emotional fetters, my whole person's state was completely reborn. I was originally a top financial talent with sharp judgment and outstanding professional ability. I was trapped by family and emotional sacrifices before, so I had no time to show my edge. Now I let go of all burdens, buried myself in work, completed several major investment projects perfectly in a row, created huge profits for the company, and was successfully promoted to the youngest project director of the company. My salary and status doubled, my temperament became more and more calm, sharp and confident, and I bloomed extremely dazzling light in the workplace. Many high-level leaders and industry elites took the initiative to pay attention to me, and countless excellent suitors appeared around me. On the contrary, Shin Tingyu's life began to fall into chaos and regret. After I broke off the engagement and left, he waited for his childhood sweetheart Lin Wan to return to China, as scheduled. But after Lin Wan came back, he found that she was completely different from the gentle and lovely white moonlight in his memory. Lin Wan was vain, arrogant, selfish, and delicate. She was used to being served by others, and she was extremely demanding and harsh on Shin Tingyu. She would lose her temper at him over trivial matters, ask him to put down all his work to accompany her, squander his money wantonly, and even secretly associate with other men. Shin Tingyu, who was used to my gentle accommodation and silent dedication, was extremely tired and disappointed when facing Lin Wan's capricious willfulness. He began to miss me crazily. He missed the warm breakfast I prepared for him every morning, missed the hot soup I made for him when he worked overtime late at night, missed the quiet and gentle company when he was under great work pressure, missed all the careful and considerate details I had paid for him. Only after losing me did he realize that the so-called white moonlight in his heart was just an illusory obsession. The real warmth and suitability have long been by his side, but he ignored and abandoned it wantonly. He began to regret frantically, and started his road of humble pursuit. He took the initiative to remove the blacklist, sent me countless apology messages, and called me repeatedly, but I never replied or answered. He waited downstairs in my company every day, holding flowers and gifts, wanting to apologize and reconcile with me, but I never gave him a chance to approach, and left directly by taking the company's special car. The barrages reminded me every time. Scumbag's regret is useless. It's all afterthoughts. He only regrets losing the person who loves him unconditionally, not loving the host. Resolutely refuse to look back. Don't give the scumbag any chance. Shouldn't you watch me become more and more excellent and dazzling, watch me surrounded by excellent suitors, and the jealousy and regret in his heart eroded his heart day by day. He finally realized that the docile and humble Su Nian who revolved around him had completely disappeared. The woman standing at the peak of the workplace now is confident, independent and shining, and no longer needs his love and pity. His initial crematorium was officially ignited, burning hotter and hotter day by day. Hashtag Chapter 6 Full Family Crematorium. Retribution comes one after another. While Shin Ting-yu was trapped in the regret of losing me, my original family also suffered continuous retribution, falling into a full-scale crematorium. After their reputation was ruined in the community, no one was willing to associate with them. Relatives and friends all stayed away from them for fear of being implicated. They had no financial support from me, and their life quality plummeted. They could no longer live a comfortable life of spending money freely. Su Hao, who was spoiled and lazy, had no money to squander, so he began to idle all day, drinking and gambling, and owed a large amount of usury outside. The usury collectors came to the door repeatedly to make trouble, smashing the doors and windows of the house, making the whole family panic and restless every day. My parents had no choice but to sell their only old house to pay off the debts, and finally had to move into a narrow and shabby rental house. They used to live comfortably, but now they're displaced and living in hardship. They finally began to regret it crazily. They recalled my filial piety and dedication over the years, recalled how they squeezed and hurt me wantonly, and every day they were tortured by endless regret and pain. They took the initiative to come to me many times, kneel down and apologize to me, cry and beg me to forgive them, beg me to go home, and continue to support the family and my brother. Yan Yan, we know we are wrong. We shouldn't have squeezed you, shouldn't have been partial to your brother. Forgive your parents. Good daughter, come home quickly. The family can't live without you. Su Hao also cried and repented. Sister, I was wrong. I won't be lazy anymore. I will work hard. Don't ignore me. Facing their tearful repentance and humble begging, my heart was completely calm without any fluctuation. The barrages floated gently. Full crew crematorium achieved. All those who hurt the host are repenting. But regret is useless. The damage caused can never be made up. The host has completely walked out of the shadow of the original family, no longer affected by them. I looked at the haggard and embarrassed family in front of me and said indifferently, "You are not repenting for hurting me. You are just repenting for losing my financial support and falling into a hard life. When I was sacrificing silently and suffering grievances, you are enjoying my dedication wantonly and mocking my stupidity. Now that you have suffered retribution, you come to beg for forgiveness. It's too late. I will fulfill my legal support obligation every month, but I will never return to this family, and I will never give you an extra bit of warmth and dedication. All the hardships and regrets now are the retribution you deserve." After speaking, I turned around and left without looking back, completely ignoring their desperate crying and begging. From then on, the Su family fell into eternal remorse and hardship. They lived in shabby rental houses all year round, suffered from poverty and trouble every day, and spent every day in the regret of losing their most filial and excellent daughter. This is their lifelong crematorium, a punishment that can never be redeemed. Hashtag Chapter 7 White Moonlight's true face exposed, Scumbag's complete collapse. While my original family was trapped in the crematorium, Shin Ting-yu's life also completely collapsed. After Lin Wan stayed with Shin Ting-yu for a period of time, she was tired of his dull and rigorous personality. She was used to extravagant and exciting life, and disliked Shin Ting-yu's serious work and rigid lifestyle. She secretly colluded with a rich playboy behind Shin Ting-yu's back, transferred Shin Ting-yu's savings wantonly, and finally left him directly with a large sum of money. Before leaving, she even sent a sarcastic message to Shin Ting-yu. "Shin Ting-yu, you are too boring and rigid. I only came back to you because I had no money. Now I have found a richer and more interesting partner. You are just my spare tire. You are stupid enough to abandon your obedient and sensible fiancé for me. You deserve to end up alone." The moment he saw this message, Shin Ting-yu's last trace of obsession and illusion was completely shattered. He finally woke up completely. The white moonlight he had obsessed over for many years was just a vain and greedy woman who treated him as a spare tire. The sincere and gentle lover he abandoned with his own hands is the only person in the world who has truly paid for him and loved him. He lost his true love for a false white moonlight, lost the warmest happiness in his life, and was finally played with and abandoned. Extreme regret and despair completely overwhelmed him. His work state plummeted, he made frequent mistakes in cases, lost many important clients, and his career was severely hit. He became haggard and decadent, abandoned all social activities, and spent every day in the empty villa, recalling every bit of our past. He looked at the position I used to sit, the table where I used to use, and the warm traces I left everywhere, and cried bitterly in endless loneliness and regret. He finally understood how stupid and blind he was. He missed the most sincere love in the world because of his ridiculous obsession, and pushed the person who loved him the hardest into the distance with his own hands. Hashtag Chapter 8 Final Ending. Female Sovereign Ascends. All people repent. 1 year later, I have become a well-known senior financial director in the industry, with outstanding ability, abundant wealth, and independent and free life. I bought my own luxury apartment and luxury car, arranged my grandmother who loved me dearly to live with me, and lived a stable, rich, and happy life. I completely walked out of the shadow of the original family and wrong love, no longer compromise, no longer sacrifice, no longer internal friction. I learned to love myself, pursue my dreams, and live a brilliant and wanton life. The gentle and excellent industry elite who has been pursuing me has always been waiting for me silently. He respects my past, loves my independence and strength, and gives me enough tenderness and sense of security. I am willing to try to start a new relationship and embrace a sincere and warm future. On the industry's annual summit night, I stood on the award stage as the annual Outstanding Youth Entrepreneur, shining brightly and dazzlingly. In the dark corner of the venue, Shintinyu sat alone, haggard and decadent, staring at me on the stage with red eyes, full of endless regret and despair. He has completely fallen from the elite lawyer with a bright future to a down-and-out loser with a failed career and broken feelings. He watched me stand at the peak of life, watched me embrace a new and warm life, watched me completely forget him and start over, and knew thoroughly that he had no chance to turn over forever. After the summit, he blocked me at the exit for the last time. His eyes were red and swollen, his voice hoarse and trembling, and he knelt down in front of me regardless of his dignity. Yin, I know I was wrong. I was extremely wrong. I regret it. I regret it more than anything. Can you give me a chance to make up for it? I don't want white moonlight. I don't want fame and fortune. I only want you. Only want our former warmth. I looked at the man who once made me wronged and sad, and now humble and decadent. My heart was completely calm without any waves. I spoke slowly, my tone indifferent and distant. Shintinyu, it's too late. When I was sacrificed by my family and helpless, you preached morality and forced me to compromise. When I loved you sincerely and devotedly, you abandoned me for your illusory white moonlight. When I was wronged and sad, you never gave me a trace of tenderness and trust. All the warmth and dedication I gave you have been exhausted in your indifference and betrayal. Your regret is your own punishment, and my brilliance is my own redemption. We have no fate for a lifetime, and there is no need to meet again. After speaking, I bypassed him directly and walked towards the bright future outside the venue, side by side with my new and sincere lover. Behind me, Shintinyu knelt on the ground, burst into silent tears, and was trapped in endless lifelong regret and crematorium forever. My original family is still struggling in poverty and repentance, suffering from the retribution of their own sins every day. The fake white moonlight got nothing and was spurned by the industry. All the people who once hurt me fell into their own crematoriums, repented for life, and got their deserved retribution. And I break free from all shackles, refuse all internal friction, grow independently and strongly, and bloom the most brilliant light of life. No sacrifice, no compromise, no wrong love. From now on, I am my own salvation, and the only light in my life. This is the most thorough counterattack and the coolest ending of Awakened Female Lead.